We've now come to the final segment for the evening, the awarding of the Voiceless Media Prize. The journalists who've been shortlisted for the prize are certainly part of that group with the power to speak out on behalf of animals and use their reach to raise awareness about animal suffering. To present this year's prize is one of the judges, Professor David Weisbrot, AM. He's no stranger to animal protection, having been the one to coin the now famous phrase, "Animal protection is potentially the greatest next social justice movement." David has been a long-standing involvement with the Voiceless group and most recently as a member of the council, and he continues to be a champion of animal law at all levels. He's the former president of the Australian Law Reform Commission and currently Professor of Legal Policy at the United States Studies Centre at the University of Sydney and Professor of Law and Governance at Macquarie University. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David Weisbrot, and from me, good evening.
Thank you very much, Robin, for that generous introduction, and thank you especially Voiceless for the second year running to ask me not only to be a judge of the Voiceless Media Prize, but also to have the great honor of announcing this year's winners. I'm always pleasantly surprised when I pick up the newspaper or go online or listen on the radio and find an animal law or an animal welfare story. They're increasingly there every week, every other week, and it's a great reminder of why we're all here tonight, which is to end animal suffering. Being a judge for a prize like this can be quite confronting, having to read, watch, or listen to so many pieces about animal cruelty all in a row. I found I have to break up my judging session every half hour or so and go for a walk or splash some water on my face because there was a lot of very confronting and disturbing material. On the other hand, I know those stories are having a very positive impact. More and more people are questioning where their meat comes from. They're demanding an end to factory farming. We heard some of the tentative steps towards good news earlier this evening. And indeed, increasingly, people are eschewing animal products altogether. This year, Voiceless received over 70 qualifying entries for the Media Prize, which is a tremendous effort in itself, and this only the second year that we've been running this. It's very impressive to see so many distinguished and talented journalists tackling important animal protection issues. And I know that Voiceless, in creating this prize, is making great strides in pushing these issues onto the national agenda, where of course they should be. Joining me on the judging panel for the Media Prize was former New South Wales Premier Bob Carr, Voiceless patron and Nobel Laureate John Coetzee, and Brian and Ondine Sherman. And I have to say, it was about the most amicable grouping of judges that I've ever, as a lawyer, that I've ever been involved in my life. There was very little oral argument and there was no dissent whatsoever. The other judges and I received an impressive shortlist of 21 entries. Before announcing the runner-up and the winner for this year, I want to make some special comments and mention and share with you some of the judges' comments for these entries. I believe all of the journalists who I'll mention are here in the audience tonight. So when I call your name, could you please stand up and we can give you the deserved round of applause. Katrina Fox. Katrina had 2 articles on ABC Online's The Drum, which resulted in an incredible 1,400 plus comments from readers. I should say parenthetically, I had an article on The Drum at the same time and I got 140 comments, but you deserved it much more than I did. The judges said Katrina's work was engagingly written and notable for the passionate antagonism it unleashes. Lisa Gibilligan from Clio magazine. I hope I pronounced your name close to right. Lisa wrote a piece about the fur industry, of which the judges said, and remember one of the judges was a Nobel laureate for literature, The judges said this article was crisp, concise, and reached an audience who are in position to decrease the demand for fur clothing. Thank you. Sabrina Locke from ABC Rural Radio. I think I saw Sabrina in the back. Sabina's piece on sow stalls, which was rebroadcast many times across the ABC platform, including ABC Local Radio, Radio National, News Radio, and specialist rural programs, as well as online. Justice Michael Kirby, who I know was here earlier but I think had to leave, Michael, when he was told he was shortlisted, graciously asked that he not receive a prize, but that it should rather be given to one of the young ones, as he put it. Michael did acknowledge that the judges were right, however, in describing his piece as extremely well written and effective. Karen Barlow of ABC's Late Line. Karen. And the judges said hers was an exceptionally well-made piece on the current highly unsatisfactory situation regarding food labeling. The judges agreed this piece had excellent use of confronting footage and very well-chosen interviewees, some of whom I see are also in the audience. Jenny Moxham. Jenny? Jenny had an impressive number of animal protection articles published this year in the Geelong Advertiser, 6 of which were placed before the judges for their excellence. The judges said Jenny's work pulls at the heartstrings. The cumulative effect is powerful and an impressive body of work. It's good to see a regional paper regularly canvassing these issues. So, well done. Jennifer Feller from ABC's Australian Story. Jennifer. For her superb program of Kathmandu founder Jan Cameron's philanthropic mission to help animals. Only a few years ago, Brian was featured on Australian Story as well on the very same topic. So I think we have a regular mini-series that we'd like to see on Australian Story. Somebody who was introduced just earlier as a new member of the Voiceless family, but probably doesn't know I'm about to say this, Anne-Marie Johnson and Stephen Romay in the Australian Literary Review. The judges said the impact of this piece was tremendous and beautifully and intelligently written, with wide-ranging literary references going beyond the 2 excellent books reviewed. Amanda Woods. Writing in the Weekend Australian magazine, one of the judges said, I think it might have been me, perhaps my favorite piece, engaging, interesting, and from the perspective of someone who grew up on a farm. This piece shows you don't have to be a vegetarian to care deeply about animal cruelty. Those are our special mentions. And now to the runner-up. For the first time this year, we're awarding a runner-up prize in recognition of the extraordinary general high quality of the contributions we received. And the prize is $2,500. The judges said of this piece, though the presentation is cool and impartial, this is a hard-hitting piece of a very high standard. Screened on the ABC 7:30 report, this story shone a spotlight on the cruel but lucrative business of puppy farming. It provoked significant debate across several social media and on talkback radio. The runner-up prize this year goes to producer Lesley Robinson and reporter Tracy Bowden for their piece, Puppy Farms. Yeah. Congratulations, Lesley. I believe Tracy's still on air, even as we speak.
No,
we're just finishing that. But there you go. And there's the other bit of the prize. Fantastic. Thank you. And now to the winner, who will receive $5,000. The judges called this an exemplary piece of advocacy. The effect of this piece was felt across Australia, with pork sales dropping as an immediate result of the community awareness achieved. Reaching over 1 million viewers, this expose on the intensive pig industry was screened on Network 9's 60 Minutes. The winners are producer Howard Sacre and reporter Liam Bartlett for their piece, The Hidden Truth. Thank you very much. It's Howard Sacre. We're now going to screen The Hidden Truth in its entirety. And I have to warn you, some of the content is very graphic and might be disturbing, especially to younger members of the audience. Before I go, I'd like to thank everyone who entered and Voiceless for sponsoring this prize. And I want to encourage journalists to keep covering these very important issues. With your help, we can make animal protection get the attention it deserves, create a groundswell for social change, and achieve justice for animals. Thank you very much.